I joined.
Hello and welcome to the video show where we will be talking all things creating a show today. So we are joined by Ed Purnell from Expense Reduction Analysts. Well, we're not joined by him. There's a pre-recorded interview I wanted to show you. It was actually from a show I made last year, but I think it's really relevant because his second series of Consultancy Insights is going to be coming out tomorrow, Series 2, Episode 1. So to give you a bit of context, I met Ed, no, I didn't physically meet him, but I met him via LinkedIn towards the end of last year, and we sort of got chatting. He was speaking to a few different people about creating videos for him, and we started to talk about like what kind of videos would be useful, what kind of videos would help him and expense reduction analysts reach the goals that they wanted to set out. And finally we settled on creating a series, a show, and that was initially 6 episodes, and the idea of that was to shoot 6 separate episodes, which include studio setup, which we shot here, and interviews that we shot in Kent, where ERA are based. So it was 2 sort of sections of shooting, and then we take all of that, put them into 6 episodes, but also create loads of different repurposed bits of content they could share as well. So this really sort of came about because I put together like a calendar of content that would go out. So say, for example, episode 1 would go out on a Tuesday, and then you get loads of little bits of content going out until next Tuesday, where the audio content would go out. So that would be a full length audio version of the episode, as well as a fuller version of the interview that was included in the show. So basically it was creating these episodes, but also creating lots of bits of content off the back of it. And the way that we measured that was for people to sign up to get more information on their website, to sign up. So when you go to the page on the website, they sign up, and then they get more information about ERA, but they also get more information about when the next episode is going out. And it's worked quite well enough that we're onto a second series now, and fingers crossed for a third series later in the year. So let's have a little look. Let's look back at this interview I recorded back in, I think it was like November, something like that. But because series 2 is coming out tomorrow, let's have another look at this episode, and then we'll come back to me today live.
ERA after. Cool. So I joined ERA after a career in recruitment, really, I guess, for 10 or 12 years, mainly in the oil and gas sector. But that took a big crash in 2014. So I then moved into the construction sector. But throughout, I was basically recruiting for high-level corporate people, generally, and consultants, commercial managers, that kind of thing, really. So that was good. But I got to the point where I decided I wanted to do something a little different, really. And I was looking for a way that I could release kind of the creative side of me, really. And I was looking for a role that suited me, and I found ERA and working within their franchise sales team. And it fitted really well with me because they look for similar types of people that I'd been recruiting over the years. And the role that I had on offer was allowing me to do a bit more on the marketing side. So transitioned to ERA, and I've been with them for a couple of years now. And yeah, throughout the lockdown period, it's been working from home, I guess, and the rest of it from Westmoreland. But working from home's been fun with the kids running around the place, the cat occasionally walking across the screen and things like that. But yeah, that's I guess a really sort of short version of where I am today and what I'm doing.
Cool. So what made you sort of look into using video as a way of creating content and a way of franchise recruitment?
So I guess as a recruiter, you spend a lot of your time on LinkedIn identifying individuals with the right background and trying to build relationships with them. And it was always through emails and, connecting and it always seemed like quite hard work to actually build out that relationship with people in this way. And I'd started to notice people using video more and more on there, and started to try and create some ourselves from ERA. And we were doing some nice interviews with our franchisees and some of our staff. Those were okay, but they weren't really getting much traction, and it didn't feel like it was there was a major strategy involved. It was more try and get one video out and then another one and then another one and see where that took us. But I was seeing people on the internet basically building themselves brands. They were keeping me entertained and interested, and I was trying to work out actually how can I do that. So yeah, that's really where I got to, was just trying to work out how to use video best for ERA.
And then what was your thought process then in terms of like taking the videos you were already doing? What did you sort of what was your aim for like in the future? What kind of things were you looking for?
So I guess initially it was lead generation, right? Every franchise wants more leads, and they weren't really that effective in the short term, just sending, posting up the odd video, because it only really lasts a week maximum, doesn't it, on LinkedIn before there's something else there. So I was trying to look for something that was more long lasting and something that would actually improve our brand awareness more than just generate leads. I think video can be used throughout all stages in the franchise sales process, but for us, there was this missing piece of just making our brand more aware, I guess. So I was trying to, like I said, I was trying to understand what everybody else was doing with their videos, the successful people in my eyes anyway, the people that were catching my attention. And I realized that they weren't selling at all. And instead what they were doing is just giving me something for free. Those are the ones I'd look to. Maybe it's because I like a bargain or something, but the people that were giving me something that was entertaining, something that was educational, something that was engaging, relevant, all of these things, They were the ones that I was interacting with, not the ones that were talking about, you can buy this or you can get this from us. You just got to contact us, because I could see through it, like most of us can. We know when it's just a sales pitch. So that then led me on to thinking, how can we do this for ERA, really?
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying about, like, you can tell when somebody's just trying to sell to you, because like you see so many YouTube adverts where it's like, stop what you're doing, I can help you earn this much money in this amount of time, and it's just sort of like, you don't even know who that person is. Like 9 times out of 10, it's just some guy who's made a few YouTube adverts. So you settled on sort of creating a show, which is Consultancy Insights. Did you sort of set out to create a show, or was that kind of my advice that you took off the back of that?
It's an interesting question, because I guess I wasn't sure if I liked that show format, really. I'd seen it a few times with things like the mob show that obviously you're involved in. And yeah, I was a little bit skeptical, if I'm honest, because who's got time to sit there and watch a 40-minute show, an hour-long show? And what can that really add for ERA was kind of my first thinking. But then after a few conversations, obviously, so I found you through you were providing free content, like through this show and other shows on how to create video. And I'd actually spoke to a few different people that were doing something similar. But what you did was you kind of laid out the structure and the plan, how this long form piece of content can actually be broken down into little snippets that then get put out there more regularly. And at the time, it actually coincided with a keynote speech that we had at ERA from, I can't remember his name now. It's Jonas Kjellberg, I think it is. But he was the ex-CFO of Skype. And he had this great talk about innovating in zeros. And part of that was his marketing plan was just to make sure there's lots of content continuously going out in front of people. And I then started noticing it around my life, my digital life, I guess, where I'm getting emails every day from HubSpot. I'm getting messages every day from Amazon, through the app. Constantly you get just content coming through, and that's how they're building their reputation. And I thought, okay, maybe that's what we need to be doing. But the other thing they're doing all the time is giving away something free, or giving some information, or giving a discount, or giving you ideas. And I guess that's then brought me round to thinking, actually, having that long form content makes it easier to do that regular content, because it's recorded in a couple of days or a week or something like this, and it's just about editing it out and piecing it out and writing a different message. It's still giving something to people, and if they're interested, they can then go through to wherever the long form content is held. So it took me a little while to come around to the idea, but yeah, I think you suggested it, and I was skeptical, if I'm honest.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. Like, I think like the trend I'm seeing is a lot of like bigger brands at the moment are kind of leading the way with creating these like longer form content, where it's kind of shows or podcasts or things you can watch for a longer period of time. And then I think you've already said it, but like, what kind of won you round was like the repurposing of that. So not only have we got like this show that goes out every other Tuesday, but then the opposite Tuesday we've got the audio version of that as going out as a podcast, and then between that we've got cut down bits of content, so clips of each show. We've got bits that aren't included in the show but are kind of advertising the show, so like trailers and little skits that we put out on opposite Fridays that promote the show, that we all shot over a course of a couple of days in November and then a couple of days in December when we weren't in lockdown. And then that just creates a whole load of content just from a few days shooting, which I think is really, really clever. And then that leads to people sort of going to the website and watching the content and signing up for more. So I think what it really does is just build brand recognition. So people recognize you as a person, they recognize the brands, they recognize the brand of the show, and then the brand of ERA as well. What kind of results have you seen? Like, we've only 3 episodes have gone out now, but what kind of results have you seen already?
Well, before I kind of go into that, I just want to kind of touch on a point you mentioned there about people recognizing us and brand recognition. Well, I think also what we're doing is showing that we know what we're talking about, right? That's even more valuable in some ways, because if they go and decide to build their own consultancy, cool. You know, that's up to them using our advice. That's great. But if they try and fail, who are they going to turn to help them, you know, achieve that dream? Well, is it going to be the brand that's tried selling to them, or is it going to be the brand that, you know, has given them some free advice? It's something that you read time and time again in various books, like How to Make Friends and Influence People. If you give, you're more likely to receive. So I think that's an important thing. And the results that we've seen from that so far has been a number of people coming back to us, or a number of people commenting saying, actually, I saw this content from you guys is really valuable, and look, I'd like to find out more about what you do. So we've had people in the UK coming back to us, a master license potential in South Africa coming back to us, somebody in the UAE, somebody relocating from Germany to Spain. You know, there's been a whole number of people that have come back and said that they're potentially interested. At this point, there's not so many leads coming through, but I think it's adding value in plenty of other places at the moment.
Yeah, I think like you touched on a good point as well there. Like with people, once they're like building this relationship with you, if you nurture that relationship and keep creating that content over time, they're only going to come back to you if they need help, or if they need advice, or if they decide that they're going to go down a franchising route, because they've already built that relationship with you. They know you, they trust you, they've like consumed all this content. They're going to go to you, or they're going to go to Phil, who are on the show, because they feel like they already know you, which I think is like, you only get that really through video or meeting someone in person.
They seem to like Arms more, to be honest.
Oh, do they? Just that trustworthy face.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's good because they feel like they know you, so therefore there's that connection already, and I'm not having to go around and speak to all those people to build that trust. I'm putting a video out there that they can watch as and when they're ready to, however many times they want, you know. So that's a real positive. Something else that might be interesting to people listening to this is we've also built static images and static content around this, because we've created this brand, Consultancy Insights, which is brought to you by ERA, of course, but we now have top tips from Arnd that we've cut out from the actual episodes and put them as those PDF sliders, which gains a lot of traction, gains a lot of engagement. So that's really good. We've just got static images from freeze frames from the show as well that we use. We're creating emails that go out to people that's interested in Consultancy Insights, webinars off the back of it. You know, so there's actually quite a lot we've built around this Consultancy Insights brand, which has been really useful.
What kind of things are you doing to measure it? So you've mentioned like all this content goes out, but what kind of things are you doing to measure it? Like measure how people are engaging with it?
Yeah, so obviously with the long form videos themselves, we've got how long they've watched the video for, you know, how many people have watched it, where they're from. So we've got that information, so we know whether it's actually reaching the right audience. But we're also using things like Bitly links, you know, to see how many times people are clicking on the pieces of content. But also in advertising through social media, you know, we can see what content is being clicked on at a certain click-through rate. So LinkedIn and Facebook will tell you what their average click-through rate is for content. And some of the videos, especially the skits, are performing double what the average is. So, you know, we know it's working. It's getting people through to our site. Way more people through to our site than we had previously. So it's doing its job, you know. I think it's going to take a little while to realize, you know, significant number of leads. Well, even then, I'm not expecting a lot of leads. What I'm expecting is people that are already a long way through the buying process. But it's going to take time to build that trust. So this isn't something that's going to fix lead generation in 1 week, 1 month, something like this. But actually, somebody we interviewed on the show, Marcus Kauke, he said, if you're not prospecting today for tomorrow, you're going to find that tomorrow you're at zero. You're going to be in the same situation. So that's what we're doing really, is we're prospecting or getting our name out there now for later on in the year when people actually start to think, right, now's the right time for me.
Yeah, I've worked with Marcus for a few years, and he's a very wise man. So yeah, he definitely knows what he's talking about. And you mentioned the skits there as well. So I'm going to put like I'm going to edit in a skit now, just to give you an idea of what that looks like.
Month 1 into consultancy, and I've already made all this money. This is amazing. This is really, really good. I love it. Just going to have this to celebrate, I think. Might as well, seeing as I'm making all this money. It's amazing. Hey! Yes. Another month of no money, and look at me, drinking bloody juice again. Oh well. Good job. You got a job for me, mate? So Ed, it's been fantastic having you on my team. Last month I was drinking orange juice, and now look at us. I think it's time to celebrate. Woohoo! Yeah! Come on! Tell you what, this consultancy thing, this is hard work. 1 month you're up, next month you're eating beans. Anyway, better dig in. Well, mate, you want some consultancy?
What I found really interested in is that the way that we create the content that goes off the back of it, we're kind of doing that as we go. So I've edited a load of the repurposed content to go out, but we're also changing that a little bit, reacting to how people are interacting with it. So for example, we've now learned that it's better to have like an intro bit of the video to get people to watch the rest of the video. So we take a bit from the middle of the video that's interesting and going to grab people's attention, put that at the start, then have maybe like a little bit of credits or a logo, and then have the rest of the content. How like interesting have you found that learning curve of like the creating the content and kind of reacting to how the audience is interacting with the content?
You can typically see from impressions for any post that you put out there that if you put something with a logo at the beginning and it's on there for 3 seconds before anything else, guess what? You've lost your audience. People have got short attention spans. How quickly do you scroll through content, right? You just give it not even half a second, and you move on. So if that first image that they see is of a logo, or it was just some text and it's not really impactful text, they're just going to scroll on. They're not interested. We put some of those videos out with the logos on to see what happens, and a nice little transition piece. But in terms of views, clicks, likes, in general engagement, yeah, low level return compared to something that's got, I wouldn't say outrageous, but something that's got something more eye-catching, So even if it is a graphic, bright colors, impactful statement, but more than anything else, people, real faces, not stock images. I've tried stock images in the past. They're okay in some scenarios, but it's a real person is what people actually want to see. If you think about it, it's a social media platform, and people are on there to be sociable, aren't they? And want to see real people, not robots and fake pictures. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things you said to me when we were first talking, was that ERA did a lot of stock imagery and that you wanted to get away from that. So it's good that people are sort of interacting with yourself, with Phil and with Arnd, because they're feeling like they're getting to know you as people rather than just these stock image, perfectly polished people that don't really exist.
Well, you'll probably hear it. Any marketing person that speaks, they talk about being more human, being more authentic on social media. That's ultimately a big part of it. It's having real faces on there to show what the business is, a real business. You know, with people, it's not just this corporate monster or this scam. Even, you know, some people can look at content that's not got any real people and think, well, is this even real? Is this is this just somebody trying to get some money out of me? So having real people in there is massive. Yeah.
So what would you say to people that are thinking about going down the video route? What kind of questions should they be asking?
To who?
Yeah, to like a video production person, or even to themselves about what kind of videos they need to be making.
I think the first thing is, would I be interested in this? You know, if you want people to join your franchise who are passionate about your franchise, it's likely they're going to have the similar opinions on topics that are relevant to your business as you will. So what's interesting about your business, and how can you give that audience member some value? Because if you're just asking them to give you something, it's unlikely they'll do it. What can you give them? So I know Anne-Marie's obviously been on your shows before, and she's on TikTok giving free dance lessons away. You know, that's a really good way to build an audience, because it's something that she can reach tens of thousands of people, and she's giving away something free to tens of thousands of people. Now, not every single one of them are going to turn around and say, oh yeah, let me buy into this, but one or two of them might, or they might mention it to their friends, and just puts you in a good light. So what can you offer to your audience? And I guess you almost then have to go back a step to say, who are my audience? What do they look like? And why are they going to be interested in our business or my business? So that's probably the key thing. The next thing is understand how you're going to use the video in terms of the structure, because just putting a video out there and just hoping that it sticks, you know, one video every month, it's not going to build that trust that quickly. So really think about what that structure looks like, and ask the videographer if they've got an idea, or what have they seen that works before, because in many ways they're the expert, right? And they can help you give advice. If you've got a marketing team and you give them a videographer, they're going to love it. They're going to say, yes, please, what can we do with them? But they might not know the structure. So altogether, work out what that structure looks like over a longer period of time than just next week or the next day. So for Consultancy Insights, we planned for 3 months worth of content to get it recorded in basically a week, wasn't it? So
yeah, it was originally going to be over a week, but because we were put into November lockdown, so we moved it to December, where there was a little gap where we're in tier 2. So yeah, the way that worked was that we planned to have a whole week where first 2 days we'd be recording all the guests. So we got guests lined up. So the way we did that was to line up what each of the 6 shows would be about, and then look at 3 potential guests that would be experts at answering those questions that we'd set aside. Then I would go and contact them, and I think we got some really good guests for each show. Some really like people that really know what they're talking about. So we had like Marcus, as we mentioned, Dr. Bob Nelson, who wrote Consulting for Dummies, Ryan Jackson as well. I think it's a really good one. These are ones that stand out at the top of my head. But yeah, everyone on every show has got something different to offer and something really interesting to offer. So it's like each show is different, each like podcast episode is different, and then each like bit of content that goes out will offer something slightly different as well, although the format will remain quite similar. Yeah,
and it's all focused around people that are interested in building a consultancy. Here's how you do it. So we're telling them how to build a consultancy, ultimately, or the topics or challenges that people in consultancy may face. Like you'll typically hear them say, you know, it's great 1 month, but the next month I'm struggling for income. And so we tackle that topic with Marcus. How to generate leads is another classic one for anyone in business, really. But we speak to Ahmed, who
yeah, he was great.
Yeah, he's a marketing guy with a consulting background, but also in educational sector. So he's actually teaches individuals through his profile, through his business, how to leverage, LinkedIn and social media effectively to generate inbound leads, so they don't have to go chasing around for them all the time. So, each topic is adding value. It's adding something to that person who might be looking at building a consultancy, just doesn't know how, which I guess is our target audience,
And with Ahmed as well, he was someone that you had followed for a while on LinkedIn and watched his videos and engaged with his stuff. So I think that was quite a bit of a coup to get him onto the show.
His skits are great. He does this one where he's on the streets going up to people saying, "Hey, would you like consultancy?" And it's kind of a Mickey take of how people interact online. If you're just dropping people emails, it's the same as just walking someone randomly up to somebody randomly in the street and saying, "Hi, buy my consultancy from me." It just doesn't make sense, does it? So took a lot of the ideas for skits from the sort of work that he's doing, as well as some other people.
And talking about the skits as well, we both spoke about this, but I think we both enjoyed that the most, didn't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Because we could just be sort of really creative with it and create really just be a bit stupid and a bit silly with it, and still, I think it still makes a good point, each skit. And those ones have been best received as well.
Yeah, well, the key is to identify a common challenge, so there's something that's relatable to your target audience, and then kind of amplify it. So amplify it, show it, and then obviously you've got to have a story around it with the text that you write in the post. Otherwise it might look a bit strange, but it'll grab people's attention. And I bet you if you looked around on social media at the content you're interacting with and the businesses that you buy into, you probably see a lot of that. They're being relevant or relatable to you, and then you start reading a bit more about them. So they definitely work really well. It's better than watching post after post saying, "Hey, look how great we are and look at this award we've won." You're not necessarily giving that person something when you say how you've won an award. That's validation piece further on down the line, of course, but it won't get people to buy into your brand. So something that's fun and relatable definitely will get them looking.
Yeah, I giving value and just being helping people understand and like and trust you. I think it's really important, and I think we've done that with the content we've been making.
Yeah, definitely.
Hello, welcome back. Oh, what's happened to my hair in the time? It's just gone. So that was Ed Purnell from ERA. That was an interview recorded a while ago, but I think it's really interesting to see how having this show has really helped ERA to really grow their franchise recruitment. And it's really interesting to see where other kind of shows can really help other businesses as well. So that's something I've been doing quite a lot. So from creating the video show to creating Consultancy Insights, there's a show called The Mob Show. Also coming up, the franchise marketing show as well, which we're slowly putting together. That's coming out on the 2nd of July. So keep an eye out for that. I will be shouting a lot about that. But that's it for episode. This is 341 of the video show. Thank you very much for watching. Next time, I'm going to be talking about lots of different bits of gear that you can use for podcasts. And then the show after that is going to be all about video. And that's because all the time I get asked, what kind of equipment do I need for videos? What kind of equipment do I need for podcasts? So I'm just going to lay it all out, tell you exactly what I think you should be getting, and then give you some links as well so you can go out and buy some amazing products. And this is only stuff that I recommend as well. I won't recommend anything I haven't used, haven't tried out, unless I say so. So we'll keep an eye out for that. That'll be out next week, so keep an eye out. If you've got any questions in the meantime about video, feel free to post them in the comments. And I will see you next time in episode 342. See you then. Bye.